The information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have seen in this presentation. Reliance on any information provided in this video is solely at your own risk. You just accomplished a miracle. You grew and birthed a human being. And now you're holding this perfect tiny person in your arms, and everyone is telling you how magical this time is. But if we're being honest, it probably doesn't feel entirely magical. You're exhausted on a level you didn't know was possible. Your body feels foreign, like it belongs to someone else. You might be weepy, anxious, and overwhelmed, cycling through a dozen emotions in a single hour. You're told to sleep when the baby sleeps, which is a nice idea in theory. You're told to enjoy every moment. But what no one seems to be telling you, what gets lost in the flood of advice about swaddling and feeding schedules, is how to rebuild yourself from the inside out. What if I told you that so much of what we dismiss as the normal suffering of the fourth trimester, the profound fatigue, the brain fog, the mood swings, the hair loss, isn't just a psychological side effect of sleep deprivation? What if a huge piece of that puzzle is biochemical? A deep cellular level depletion of critical nutrients that your body literally gave away to create your child. This isn't about willpower. It isn't about bouncing back. It's about strategic, intentional replenishment. And over the next few minutes, and in this entire series, I'm going to give you the nutritional roadmap to do exactly that. We are going to solve the problem of postpartum depletion, giving you the knowledge and the tools to not just survive the fourth trimester, but to build a foundation of wellness that will carry you through motherhood. You will learn the what, the why, and the how of eating for true postpartum recovery. Let's start by getting one thing straight. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from a deficit. Pregnancy is an act of profound generosity. Your body, without you even thinking about it, orchestrated a massive transfer of resources. Think about it. You built an entirely new organ, the placenta, from scratch. Your blood volume increased by nearly 50%. You constructed a skeleton, a brain, and a nervous system for your baby using the materials you had stored in your own bones, your own brain, and your own tissues. Nutrients like iron, zinc, vitamin B12, B9, iodine, and selenium, along with specific fatty acids like DHA, were preferentially shuttled to your growing baby. Your body's priority was, and always will be, the survival of the next generation. It's a beautiful, ruthless biological reality. Then comes the birth itself. An incredible athletic event, no matter how it happens. It's a massive physical trauma that requires immense resources for healing and tissue repair. And then, if you choose to and are able to breastfeed, the giving continues. Your body continues to pull from its own stores to produce liquid gold, perfectly formulated to grow your baby's brain and body. Every single ounce of breast milk is packed with fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals that are drawn directly from you. So when you're sitting there in the middle of the night, feeling utterly drained, foggy, and emotional, it's not a personal failing. It is a predictable physiological state. We have a name for it: postpartum depletion. And it's the hidden epidemic behind so much of the struggle new mothers face. The issue is, our modern world, and especially our modern food system, isn't set up to support this level of replenishment. We're told to grab a granola bar, eat a salad, and maybe take a standard prenatal vitamin. That is like trying to refill a swimming pool with a garden hose. It's not enough, not even close. To truly recover, we need to think like we're rebuilding a house from the foundation up. We need the right materials in the right amounts at the right time. And that's what this series is all about. We're going to break it down into a strategic toolkit, focusing on the key nutrients that are most critical for your recovery. We'll talk about the rebuilders. These are the nutrients essential for healing tissues, repairing the pelvic floor, rebuilding blood supply, and stemming that terrifying postpartum hair loss. Think of things like high-quality protein and, crucially, iron. So many women enter pregnancy already low in iron, and birth is a major blood loss event. Trying to function with low iron is like trying to drive a car with no gas in the tank. It just doesn't work. Then we'll cover the mood stabilizers. This is where we get into the brain science of the postpartum period. We'll talk about the specific fats like omega-3 DHA that are literally building blocks for your brain. Your baby's brain is about 60% fat, and much of that DHA came directly from your own supply. Replenishing it is non-negotiable for fighting off brain fog and supporting emotional stability. We'll also dive into the B vitamins, the unsung heroes of your nervous system and energy production, which are used up at an incredible rate during pregnancy and postpartum. Next up are the bone guardians. During the last trimester and breastfeeding, your body will actually pull calcium from your own bones if your dietary intake isn't high enough. It's a shocking thought, but it's true. We will discuss how to protect your long-term bone density with not just calcium, but its essential partners, vitamin D, vitamin K2, and magnesium, nutrients that most new mothers are chronically deficient in. And finally, we'll talk about the energy and hormone regulators. We'll explore nutrients like iodine and selenium, which are absolutely critical for thyroid function. Your thyroid is the master gland of your metabolism and energy, and it takes a huge hit during the postpartum period. A sluggish thyroid can be a primary driver of fatigue, weight retention, and even postpartum depression, and it is profoundly influenced by your nutritional status. This isn't about a diet. It's not about restriction or losing the baby weight. This is about abundance. It's about flooding your body with the deep, powerful nutrition it is crying out for. It's about understanding that the food on your plate is the most powerful tool you have to influence how you feel, day in and day out. It's the difference between feeling like you're constantly struggling to keep your head above water and feeling like you can actually ride the waves of new motherhood with strength and resilience. The fog can lift, the energy can return, the joy you were promised can become your reality, and it all starts with understanding how to refuel your incredible body. So, let's talk about that refueling process. Imagine for a moment that for 9 months your body was a construction site working 24/7 on the most important project of your life. You were building a human from scratch. Every beam, every wire, every single tiny detail was sourced directly from you. Your bones lent calcium, your blood shared iron, your brain even contributed essential fats. It was an all-out, no-holds-barred effort. And then comes delivery day. Whether it was a marathon labor or a major surgery, it was the equivalent of a grand, chaotic, and physically monumental project completion. Now, the project is finished, the beautiful new creation is here, but the construction site, your body, is depleted. The scaffolding is down, the workers are exhausted, and the resource warehouses are empty. This isn't just a feeling. It's a physiological reality. This is the postpartum depletion crisis that so few people talk about. We're told to bounce back, but nobody gives us the blueprint for rebuilding. We're handed a baby and expected to function on empty, drawing from a well that has run dry. This is precisely why just eating healthy isn't enough. Postpartum nutrition isn't about weight loss. It's not about fitting into old jeans. It is a deep, foundational, and urgent mission of recovery and rebuilding. It's about restocking those empty warehouses so you can not only care for your baby, but also reclaim your own vitality. And the first step in any rebuilding project is to bring in the big materials, the foundational structures. In nutrition, these are your macronutrients: protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Let's not get bogged down in technical jargon. Think of them like this: protein is the repair crew, fat is the command center, and carbohydrates are the power grid. You need all three in the right forms and at the right times to bring your system back online. Let's start with the repair crew, protein. After the physical event of childbirth, your body is in a state of profound repair. Tissues have been stretched, torn, or surgically cut. Your uterus is shrinking back down from the size of a watermelon to the size of a pear. Your blood volume is rebalancing. All of this requires a massive amount of raw material, and protein is that material. It's the bricks and mortar for your cells. The amino acids in protein are the literal building blocks that stitch you back together from the inside out. When you don't get enough, healing can be slower. You might feel weaker, more fragile. That nagging feeling of just not getting your strength back can often be traced back to a protein deficit. Furthermore, protein is critical for hormone production. Your hormones are on a wild roller coaster ride postpartum. Protein helps create the enzymes and hormones that try to bring some semblance of balance back to that system. And if you're breastfeeding, your body's demand for protein skyrockets. You're not just rebuilding yourself. You're also manufacturing the perfect, protein-rich food for your baby. Insufficient protein can potentially impact milk supply and leave you feeling even more drained. Think about it. That constant, gnawing hunger many new moms feel? It's often a desperate cry from your body for more protein. So, how do you get it, especially when you have a baby in your arms and zero time to cook a gourmet meal? This is about strategy, not complexity. It's about having one-handed, nutrient-dense options ready to go. Hard-boil a dozen eggs and keep them in the fridge. Stock up on individual Greek yogurt cups. Have bags of almonds, walnuts, or pumpkin seeds within arm's reach of where you nurse or feed the baby. A quality beef or turkey jerky can be a lifesaver. And don't underestimate the power of a good protein smoothie. You can blend it in 60 seconds, drink it with one hand, and pack in protein powder, spinach, and healthy fats all at once. The goal is to sprinkle protein throughout your day, not just at dinner. This keeps your blood sugar stable and provides your body with a constant stream of those essential rebuilding blocks. Next, let's talk about the command center, healthy fats. For decades, we were taught to fear fat. That low-fat yogurt, those fat-free cookies. We now know that was a catastrophic mistake, especially for women and mothers. Healthy fats are the master regulators. They are essential for your brain, your mood, and your hormones. Your brain is made up of about 60% fat. After pregnancy, when you've literally given some of your own brain-building materials like DHA to your baby, replenishing this is non-negotiable. That mom brain, that feeling of foggy thinking and forgetfulness, is often your brain crying out for healthy fats. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA found in fatty fish like salmon, are superstars here. They are known to support cognitive function and are powerful anti-inflammatories, helping to calm the systemic inflammation that occurs after childbirth. Studies have suggested a link between low levels of omega-3s and a higher incidence of postpartum mood challenges. By nourishing your brain with these fats, you are giving your command center the tools it needs to navigate the emotional and cognitive demands of motherhood. They also play a crucial role in absorbing certain vitamins and keeping your hormones communicating effectively. And if you're breastfeeding, the DHA you consume passes through your milk to your baby, directly supporting their brain and eye development. You're building your baby's command center at the same time you're rebuilding your own. Getting these fats into your diet can be delicious and simple. Slice half an avocado onto a piece of whole grain toast. A sprinkle of salt, maybe a squeeze of lemon, it's a perfect mini meal. Keep a bag of walnuts or almonds by your bedside for middle-of-the-night feedings. Add a tablespoon of chia seeds or ground flaxseed to your oatmeal or smoothie. Drizzle your salads and roasted vegetables with extra virgin olive oil. Making a conscious effort to include a source of healthy fat with every meal can have a profound impact on your mental clarity and emotional stability. Finally, let's power it all up with the power grid. Complex carbohydrates. Carbs have gotten a bad rap, but they are the primary source of fuel for your body and brain. The key is choosing the right kind. We're not talking about the sugary cereals, white bread, and pastries that give you a quick spike of energy followed by a hard crash, leaving you more tired and irritable than before. That's like trying to power a city with a pile of kindling. It burns bright and fast, and then it's gone. We need the long-burning logs. We need complex carbohydrates. These are foods like oats, sweet potatoes, quinoa, brown rice, beans, and lentils. They are packed with fiber, which slows down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. This provides you with a steady, reliable stream of energy, preventing those dramatic mood and energy swings. This is absolutely critical when you're sleep-deprived. Stable blood sugar is your best friend in the fight against exhaustion and irritability. Fiber also has another crucial job postpartum. It keeps your digestive system moving. Constipation is a common and uncomfortable issue after birth, and a fiber-rich diet is one of the best ways to support regularity and comfort. Think of it as setting your energy baseline for the day. Starting your morning with a bowl of oatmeal with berries and nuts, instead of a sugary muffin, can change the entire trajectory of your day. Instead of a 10 a.m. energy crash, you have sustained fuel to carry you through. Batch cooking is your secret weapon here. Cook a big pot of quinoa or brown rice at the beginning of the week. Roast a tray of sweet potato wedges. Then you can easily add them to salads, bowls, or have them as a quick side. These foods are comforting, nourishing, and they provide the essential non-negotiable energy you need to power the entire rebuilding operation. So we have the repair crew, the command center, and the power grid. Protein, fats, and carbs. These are the foundations. Getting these right is the single most powerful step you can take to begin the journey of replenishing your body. But even with the best building materials and a fully powered site, the work can't truly begin without the specialists, the electricians, the plumbers, the detail-oriented finishers who make everything work together. Even a high-performance engine, filled with the best fuel, won't start without a spark. And in your body, those sparks are the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that ignite thousands of critical processes every second. Key players like iron, B12, magnesium, and vitamin D are often severely depleted postpartum, and their absence can be the missing link between feeling just okay and feeling truly vibrant and alive. Let's start with the titan of postpartum recovery: iron. Think of iron as the delivery truck for oxygen in your body. During pregnancy, your blood volume increases by nearly 50% to support your growing baby. That's an incredible feat, but it demands a massive amount of iron to build all that new hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen. Then comes delivery. Whether you have a vaginal birth or a C-section, there's significant blood loss. It's a 1-2 punch that can leave your iron reserves completely bare. So what happens when the delivery trucks stop running on time? Every single cell in your body, from your brain to your muscles, starts gasping for air. This isn't just feeling a little tired. This is a bone-deep, soul-crushing exhaustion that no amount of coffee can fix. It's the feeling of walking through wet cement just to get from the couch to the kitchen. It's the brain fog so thick you forget what you were saying mid-sentence or why you walked into a room. It's feeling short of breath climbing a single flight of stairs. Sound familiar? For so many new mothers, these symptoms are dismissed as the normal price of admission to motherhood. But often, it's a profound iron deficiency screaming for attention. Iron is also a critical cofactor for producing neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, the very chemicals that regulate your mood, motivation, and sense of well-being. When iron is low, it can feel like the color has been drained from your world, potentially contributing to the feelings of sadness and anxiety that are all too common in the postpartum period. It's not a personal failing. It's a physiological reality. So, how can you start restocking your iron supply? There are 2 types of iron found in food: heme and non-heme. Heme iron, found in animal products like lean red meat, poultry, and fish like sardines and salmon, is the VIP. Your body absorbs it incredibly efficiently. Non-heme iron is found in plant-based sources like lentils, beans, spinach, tofu, and fortified cereals. It's still valuable, but your body has a harder time absorbing it. Here's a pro tip that can make a huge difference. Always pair your non-heme iron sources with a food rich in vitamin C. Think of vitamin C as the key that unlocks the door for non-heme iron to enter your system. So a spinach salad with bell peppers and a lemon vinaigrette, or a bowl of lentil soup with a side of broccoli. These combinations are more powerful than the sum of their parts. It's about working smarter, not just harder, to replenish those crucial stores. And of course, a conversation with your healthcare provider about your iron levels and potential supplementation is one of the most proactive steps you can take for your recovery. Now, if iron is the oxygen delivery truck, then vitamin B12 is the master electrician, ensuring all the signals in your body are firing correctly. These 2 nutrients are partners in crime when it comes to fighting postpartum fatigue, and you can't really talk about one without the other. Like iron, your B12 stores are generously passed on to your baby during pregnancy and through breast milk, leaving your own reserves running on empty. This is particularly relevant for mothers following a vegetarian or vegan diet, as B12 is primarily found in animal products. What does this master electrician actually do? Vitamin B12 is essential for 2 massive jobs. First, it helps form healthy red blood cells. See the connection? If you don't have enough B12, your body can't properly use the iron you're consuming to make those oxygen-carrying cells. You can be eating all the right iron-rich foods, but without B12, it's like having a factory full of parts with no one to assemble them. This can lead to a specific type of anemia that zaps your energy just as effectively as iron deficiency. Second, and this is huge for new moms, B12 maintains the protective coating around your nerves, called the myelin sheath. Think of it like the plastic insulation around an electrical wire. Without enough B12, that insulation starts to fray. The signals don't travel as efficiently. This can manifest in ways that are incredibly confusing and distressing. We're talking about that pins and needles feeling, numbness in your hands and feet, memory lapses, difficulty concentrating, and even changes in mood and behavior. How many times have you heard a new mom say, "I feel like I'm losing my mind"? While sleep deprivation is a massive factor, an underlying B12 deficiency can be a powerful amplifier of these cognitive and neurological symptoms. It's the difference between a fuzzy signal and a clear connection. Replenishing B12 is straightforward, but it requires intention. The most potent sources are animal-based. Clams and liver are superstars, followed by fish like salmon and tuna, beef, yogurt, milk, and eggs. For those on a plant-based diet, it's critical to focus on fortified foods. Nutritional yeast, which has a cheesy, nutty flavor, is a fantastic source. Many plant-based milks, cereals, and meat substitutes are also fortified with B12. Reading labels becomes your superpower. Because of the absorption challenges and the critical nature of this nutrient, Many healthcare professionals recommend supplementation for breastfeeding mothers, especially those who are plant-based, to ensure both mom and baby are getting an adequate supply. I remember the case of a client, let's call her Jessica. She was 4 months postpartum with her second child. She came in describing a level of exhaustion that felt cellular. She was a devoted mother, eating what she thought was a healthy diet, but she felt like a ghost in her own life. She had brain fog so bad she was worried about driving. She had this weird tingling in her fingers that she brushed off as being from holding the baby. Her doctor had checked her iron, and it was on the low end of normal, so she was just told to eat more red meat. But nothing was changing. We encouraged her to go back and ask for a more comprehensive panel, including her B12 levels and her ferritin, which is the measure of her stored iron, not just the iron circulating in her blood. The results were staggering. Her ferritin was in the single digits, the tank was completely empty, and her B12 was borderline deficient. It was a classic case of the two deficiencies working together to create a perfect storm of symptoms. Armed with this information, she worked with her doctor to create a targeted plan of high-dose iron and B12 supplementation. She said that within 3 weeks it was like the lights came back on. The fog lifted, the tingling stopped, and while she was still a tired new mom, she wasn't that shell of a person anymore. She felt like herself again. Her story is a powerful reminder that these symptoms are not just something to be endured. They are often signals, clues from your body that a fundamental building block is missing. But energy and mental clarity are only part of the puzzle. What about the anxiety that keeps you up at night even when the baby is sleeping? What about the muscle aches, the tension headaches, the restless legs that just won't quit? This isn't just about the on switch for your energy. We also have to address the off switch, the system that allows your body to relax, repair, and truly rest. And that brings us to the unsung hero of the mineral world, the master of calm that over 300 processes in your body depend on. I'm talking about magnesium. Magnesium is the great regulator. It's the mineral that whispers to your nervous system, "It's okay, you can stand down now." While cortisol and adrenaline are the gas pedal, magnesium is the brake. In the postpartum period, so many new mothers find their gas pedal is stuck to the floor. They're wired but tired, exhausted but unable to switch off. Their minds race with to-do lists and worries, even when the baby is sound asleep. This isn't a personal failing. It's often a biochemical reality. Your body is screaming for the brakes, but the brake line has been cut. Let's get into how this works because it's fascinating. Inside your brain you have receptors called NMDA receptors. Think of them like tiny electrical gates. When they're activated by a neurotransmitter called glutamate, they fire up, creating excitement and neural activity. This is essential for learning and memory, but when they're overactivated it leads to anxiety, restlessness, and that feeling of being perpetually on edge. Magnesium's job is to sit inside that gate, acting as a natural gatekeeper. It blocks the channel, preventing it from firing at the slightest provocation. When you have enough magnesium, your brain can stay calm and collected. When your magnesium levels are low, that gatekeeper is gone. The gate is wide open. Every little stressor, every stray thought, every baby cry can trigger a massive neurological reaction, leaving you feeling frazzled and overwhelmed. Pregnancy itself is a massive drain on magnesium stores. Your baby needs it to build strong bones, your uterus needs it for muscle function, and the sheer physiological stress of growing a human being consumes it rapidly. Then comes labor and delivery, arguably one of the most intense physical events a human can experience. Your body burns through magnesium to fuel uterine contractions and manage the immense stress. And if you're breastfeeding, you're passing this vital mineral onto your baby through your milk, further depleting your own reserves. You start the postpartum period not just at zero but in a deep mineral debt. And the symptoms of this debt are the very things we often dismiss as just normal for new moms. Let's connect the dots. That relentless anxiety or a short fuse, that could be your NMDA receptors firing without a gatekeeper. Can't fall asleep even when you're bone tired? Magnesium is crucial for regulating calming neurotransmitters like GABA and the sleep hormone melatonin. Without enough magnesium, your brain simply forgets how to power down for sleep. What about the physical symptoms? Those awful afterpains, the leg cramps that jolt you awake at night, or the restless legs that make it impossible to get comfortable. That's the classic sign of a magnesium-calcium imbalance. Calcium's job is to make muscles contract. Magnesium's job is to make them relax. When you're low on magnesium, calcium runs the show, leading to constant, unchecked muscle tension, cramps, and spasms. The tension you feel in your neck and shoulders from holding and feeding your baby for hours on end is made exponentially worse by a magnesium deficiency. And the fatigue. Oh, the fatigue. We're told it's just from lack of sleep, but it's often so much deeper than that. Every single cell in your body runs on an energy currency called ATP. Your body cannot create ATP without magnesium. It is a non-negotiable part of the energy production cycle. Low magnesium means low cellular energy, which translates to a profound, bone-deep exhaustion that no amount of coffee can fix. Even those intense cravings for chocolate have a biochemical basis. Your body instinctively knows that high-quality dark chocolate is one of the richest dietary sources of magnesium. It's not a weakness. It's your body's intelligence trying to get what it desperately needs. So, how do we begin to repay this debt? The first and most important place to start is with food. We have to think about eating not just for calories but for mineral density. Dark leafy greens like spinach, Swiss chard, and kale are phenomenal sources. Think of them as nature's tranquilizers. Nuts and seeds are magnesium powerhouses. Pumpkin seeds, almonds, chia seeds, and cashews should be your new best friends. Avocados, often praised for their healthy fats, are also loaded with magnesium. Legumes like black beans and lentils and whole grains like quinoa are also excellent contributors. And yes, you can absolutely enjoy a few squares of high-quality dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher, as a legitimate part of your replenishment strategy. But here's the tough reality of our modern world. Even if you eat a perfect diet, you might still struggle to get enough. Decades of intensive farming have stripped much of the magnesium from our soil, which means the plants growing in that soil have less to offer us. This is where targeted supplementation can be a supportive tool, but it's crucial to approach it with knowledge and in conversation with your healthcare provider. Because not all magnesium supplements are created equal. Walking down the supplement aisle can be incredibly confusing. You'll see magnesium oxide, citrate, glycinate, threonate. It's like a different language. The most common and cheapest form you'll find is magnesium oxide. Many basic multivitamins use it. The problem is it has very poor bioavailability, meaning your body can't absorb much of it. Its primary effect for many people is in the colon, where it acts as a laxative. While that might be helpful for some postpartum constipation, it's not doing much for your brain, your muscles, or your energy levels. A better option for many is magnesium citrate. It's well absorbed and also has a gentle laxative effect, making it a good choice if constipation is a concern. But the real star of the show for postpartum wellness is often considered to be magnesium glycinate. In this form, magnesium is bound to the amino acid glycine. Glycine itself has a calming, inhibitory effect on the nervous system. This combination makes magnesium glycinate highly bioavailable, very gentle on the stomach, and exceptionally effective for promoting relaxation, easing anxiety, and supporting restful sleep. It's a true powerhouse for calming that wired and tired feeling. Other forms have unique benefits too. Magnesium L-threonate is a newer form that has been studied for its unique ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, potentially supporting cognitive function and helping with that classic mom brain. Magnesium malate, bound to malic acid, is involved in the body's energy production cycle, making it a potential option for specifically targeting fatigue. But replenishment doesn't just have to come from a pill. One of the most powerful and nourishing ways to boost your magnesium levels is through a practice of self-care, an Epsom salt bath. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. When you soak in a warm bath, your body can absorb the magnesium through your skin. This is a twofold benefit. You're getting the mineral your body craves, and you're also engaging in a ritual. You're carving out 20 minutes for yourself, signaling to your nervous system that it is safe to relax, and soothing the sore, tired muscles of motherhood. It's a physical and psychological reset. Topical magnesium oils and lotions can also be fantastic for targeting specific areas of muscle soreness, like your lower back or tight shoulders. Magnesium is the key that unlocks calm. It's the permission slip your body needs to switch from high-alert survival mode to a state of rest, digest, and repair. By focusing on magnesium-rich foods, exploring smart supplementation with your doctor's guidance, and incorporating restorative practices like Epsom salt baths, you can begin to refill your cup. You can give your nervous system the break it needs to navigate the intensity of new motherhood with more ease and resilience. But calming the system is only half the battle. Once we've hit the off switch and created the space for repair, our body needs the actual raw materials to do the rebuilding. The process of pregnancy and birth breaks down tissues, depletes stores, and demands a level of cellular reconstruction that is almost unparalleled. While magnesium helps us power down and prepare for the renovation, our bodies are screaming for the raw materials to actually rebuild. It's like having a construction crew ready to work, but no bricks, no steel, no lumber. And to get those building blocks, we need to talk about the most misunderstood and underestimated macronutrient in the postpartum journey: protein. I know what you might be thinking. Protein is for bodybuilders. It's for giant tubs of chalky powder and guys who grunt at the gym. It's about getting bulky, not about recovering from childbirth. And that, right there, is one of the most damaging misconceptions that can hold a new mother back from feeling strong, energized, and like herself again. Because protein isn't just about muscle. In the postpartum period, protein is about survival. It's about rebuilding. It's the master recovery nutrient. Let's go back to our construction crew. They're standing on the site of what was once a thriving city, but has just endured a 9-month-long earthquake, culminating in one final massive tremor: childbirth. The crew is ready, the hormones are signaling what needs to be repaired first. But without protein, they are standing around with empty tool belts. Protein is the lumber, the steel, the concrete, and the wiring. It is the raw material for every single repair job your body needs to do right now. And the job list is long. First, there's the immediate physical trauma. Your uterus, which grew to the size of a watermelon, now has to shrink back to the size of a pear. The site where the placenta was attached is essentially an internal wound that needs to heal. If you had a C-section, your body needs to repair multiple layers of tissue, from the skin all the way down to the uterine wall. If you had a vaginal birth, you may have tearing that needs to mend. What does all of that healing require? Amino acids. And where do you get amino acids? Protein. Every stitch, every cell, every fiber that your body knits back together is fundamentally built from the protein you eat. Skimping on protein is like telling that construction crew to rebuild a skyscraper using duct tape and glue. The foundation will be shaky, and the recovery will be slow. But the physical rebuilding is just job number one. Let's talk about the command center: your hormones. The postpartum period is a hormonal tidal wave. During pregnancy, your estrogen and progesterone levels were sky high. Within 24 hours of giving birth, they plummet to near pre-pregnancy levels. It is the most abrupt and dramatic hormonal shift a human body can experience. This crash is a key contributor to the baby blues, mood swings, and that feeling of being completely overwhelmed. So, how does the body reestablish order? It needs to produce new hormones and re-regulate the entire system. And what are many of these hormones and the neurotransmitters that regulate mood, like serotonin and dopamine, made of? Amino acids. From protein. Providing your body with a steady supply of protein is like giving the command center the resources it needs to get the communication lines back online, helping to smooth out those wild emotional peaks and valleys. Now let's talk about the new full-time job your body just took on, the 24/7 milk factory. If you are breastfeeding, your body is performing a metabolic miracle, creating perfect, life-sustaining nutrition for your baby. And breast milk is not just sugar water. It is a complex substance rich in fats, carbs, antibodies, and you guessed it, a tremendous amount of protein. The two primary proteins in milk, whey and casein, are critical for your baby's growth, immune system, and neurological development. But your body can't just magically create this protein from thin air. It has to come from somewhere. If you are not consuming enough protein in your diet, your body, in its infinite wisdom to prioritize the baby, will find it elsewhere. It will start breaking down your own tissues, your muscles, your stores. It will literally cannibalize your own strength to feed your child. You'll be producing high-quality milk, yes, but at the expense of your own recovery, your own energy, your own physical integrity. That profound, bone-deep exhaustion so many new moms feel? That feeling of weakness? It is often exacerbated by the body being in a catabolic state, breaking itself down faster than it can build itself up. This leads directly to the energy crisis. Most new parents live on caffeine and simple carbs. A piece of toast here, a handful of crackers there, a sugary granola bar at 3 a.m. These give you a quick spike in blood sugar, a fleeting burst of energy, followed by an even harder crash. You ride this blood sugar roller coaster all day, feeling frantic one moment and completely depleted the next. Protein is the ultimate stabilizer. When you pair carbohydrates with protein, it slows down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. Instead of a spike and a crash, you get a gentle rolling hill of sustained energy. This is a game changer. It's the difference between feeling like a flickering fluorescent light and a steady warm glow. That stability doesn't just impact your energy. It impacts your cravings, your mood, and your ability to think clearly through the fog of sleep deprivation. And finally, let's talk about something that can be deeply distressing for new moms: postpartum hair loss. A few months after birth, many women are shocked to see clumps of hair in the shower drain. While this is partly due to hormonal shifts, it is massively impacted by nutrient status. Your hair is literally spun from protein fibers, primarily one called keratin. When your body is in triage mode, it has to decide where to send its precious protein resources. Is it going to repair the uterine wall, produce milk for the baby, or build a new strand of hair? It's an easy choice. Hair, skin, and nails are seen as non-essential, and they are the first to be sacrificed. Seeing that hair loss isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's an external signal of an internal depletion. Your body is telling you that the construction crew doesn't have enough raw materials to do everything, so it's cutting back on the less critical projects. So, the next obvious question is, how much protein do we actually need? The standard recommendation for an average adult is around 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. But a postpartum, lactating woman is not an average adult. Her needs are profoundly elevated. Many studies and nutritional experts suggest that postpartum women, especially if breastfeeding, may need closer to 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram, or in some cases even more. For a 150-pound woman, that's a jump from about 55 grams a day to potentially 80 to 100 grams or more. That's the difference between eating 1 chicken breast versus 2, or 1 cup of lentils versus nearly 3. It's a significant increase, and most new mothers are unknowingly falling far short. Now, not all protein is created equal. The key is getting all 9 essential amino acids, the ones your body can't make on its own. Animal sources like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy are complete proteins, meaning they contain all 9 in one package. These are incredibly efficient for rebuilding. A piece of salmon not only gives you high-quality protein, but also anti-inflammatory omega-3 fats. Eggs provide protein plus choline for your baby's brain development. Grass-fed beef delivers protein along with highly absorbable iron to help rebuild blood stores lost during delivery. But you can absolutely thrive on a plant-based diet postpartum. You just need to be a little more strategic. Most plant sources like beans, grains, and nuts are incomplete, meaning they are low in 1 or more essential amino acids. The classic solution is combining them. Rice and beans, for example, when eaten together, provide all 9 essential amino acids. The same goes for hummus on whole wheat pita. And some plant foods are complete protein powerhouses all on their own, like quinoa, tofu, edamame, and hemp seeds. The goal is simply to eat a wide variety of sources throughout the day to ensure you're giving your body the full set of tools it needs. We've established the urgent, non-negotiable why. You need more protein than you probably think. You need it for physical healing, hormonal balance, milk production, sustained energy, and even for your hair. You know what kinds to look for. And that's great in theory. But right now, theory feels like a distant luxury. When you're holding a crying baby, you've been up for 48 hours straight, and the idea of cooking anything, let alone a nutrient-dense, high-protein meal, feels like an impossible task. So how do you bridge the gap between knowing what you need and actually getting it into your body in the chaotic reality of new motherhood? How do you fuel the recovery when you barely have a free hand to feed yourself? That is the most important question of all, and it's exactly what we're going to break down next. Let's start with the scene. It's 2 p.m. The baby is finally blessedly asleep, but only on your chest. You haven't eaten since 7 a.m., and your stomach is staging a rebellion. In your line of sight is a bag of chips on the counter. It's a trek, a risky one. Moving could wake the baby. On the coffee table within arm's reach is a half-eaten protein bar from yesterday. You eye it. Is it worth it? This is the reality. This is the postpartum nutrition gap. It's not a knowledge gap. You know you need to eat well. It's an execution gap. The bridge between knowing what your body needs and actually getting it, that fuel is broken. It's a bridge built of time, energy, and 2 free hands, 3 things that are in critically short supply. So we're not going to talk about elaborate meal prep or gourmet recipes. That's a fantasy. We're going to talk about strategy. We're going to talk about building a system that works for this specific, unique, and demanding season of life. The core philosophy is simple: make every bite count. We do this with 2 primary tactics: nutrient stacking and strategic snacking. Let's tackle nutrient stacking first. This is the art of packing as much nutritional firepower as possible into one easy-to-consume thing. Think of it like a nutritional special ops mission. The number one tool in this arsenal is the smoothie. Now, I know smoothies aren't a revolutionary idea, but the postpartum power smoothie is a different beast. This isn't just fruit and yogurt. This is a recovery vehicle in a glass. Here's the formula. First, your base. Forget juice. We need protein and probiotics. Full-fat Greek yogurt or kefir. This gives you high-quality protein for tissue repair, calcium for your bones, and probiotics to help begin restoring your gut health, which can be completely out of whack after birth. Next, the greens. This is non-negotiable. A giant heaping handful of fresh spinach. It will completely disappear into the smoothie. You won't taste it, but you'll be getting a blast of folate, iron, and vitamin K. Third, the healthy fats. This is for your brain, your hormones, and your baby's brain if you're breastfeeding. A quarter of an avocado makes it incredibly creamy. A tablespoon of chia seeds or ground flaxseed adds a huge dose of omega-3s and fiber, which is absolutely critical for that first postpartum bowel movement and beyond. Now the booster. A scoop of collagen peptides. This is fantastic for helping your skin regain elasticity, supporting joint health, and it's a key building block for repairing the perineum and abdominal wall. It dissolves completely and has no taste. Finally, flavor and energy. A half a banana for potassium and quick energy, and a cup of frozen mixed berries for antioxidants and vitamin C. You blend this all up, it takes 90 seconds, and you have a complete meal you can drink with one hand while holding the baby. You've just stacked protein, probiotics, healthy fats, fiber, iron, folate, and collagen into a single glass. That is nutrient stacking. The second pillar of this strategy is the one-pan wonder. The enemy of a new parent is cleanup. The sink full of dishes is a monument to exhaustion. The one-pan meal is your secret weapon. The concept is simple. Protein, carbs, and veggies all roasted together on a single sheet pan. The superstar here is salmon. Lay a couple of fillets on a parchment-lined baking sheet. Salmon is an omega-3 and vitamin D powerhouse. Surround it with broccoli florets, which are packed with vitamin C to help you absorb iron, and cube sweet potatoes for complex carbohydrates that provide long-lasting energy. Drizzle everything with olive oil, sprinkle with salt and pepper, and roast it. In 20 minutes, you have a dinner that hits all the major nutrient groups. Zero fuss, one pan to wash. And here's the pro move. Use a giant sheet pan and make double. What you don't eat for dinner becomes a ready-made, nourishing lunch for the next day. No extra work, 2 meals covered. Now let's move on to our second tactic, strategic snacking. For most new moms, the day isn't broken into breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a series of small, disjointed windows of opportunity. This is why snacking is not an indulgence. It's your primary fueling strategy, but we have to be smart about it. The goal is to turn your home into a landscape of opportunity, where a nutritious, one-handed snack is always closer than an empty-calorie one. First, create a nursing nook snack basket. Wherever you typically feed the baby, the glider, the corner of the couch, that is your command center, and it needs to be stocked. Get a small basket and fill it with things you can eat with one hand in the dark. Think hard-boiled eggs, which are a choline jackpot. Individually wrapped cheese sticks for calcium and protein. High-quality beef jerky for a hit of iron. A bag of trail mix, but be specific: walnuts, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and a few dark chocolate chips. This gives you magnesium, zinc, and healthy fats. You can even throw in some lactation cookies, which often contain galactagogues like oats and flaxseed that can support milk supply while giving you a much-needed energy boost. Now, when you're pinned down by a sleeping baby and hunger strikes, you have an arsenal of options right at your fingertips. Next, you need a fridge fuel drawer. Designate one drawer in your refrigerator as your personal grab-and-go station. This removes the mental energy of having to decide what to eat. Stock it with pre-portioned containers of cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, bags of pre-cut carrots and bell peppers with single-serving hummus cups. One of the best things you can have in here is bone broth. You can heat it up in the microwave and sip it from a mug. It's incredibly soothing, hydrating, and packed with collagen and amino acids that are essential for healing connective tissues. The goal is to open the fridge and have a smart choice be the easiest choice. This brings us to hydration, which is so critical it deserves its own category. Dehydration is the silent saboteur of postpartum recovery. It tanks your energy, worsens brain fog, can lead to headaches, and if you're breastfeeding, it can crush your milk supply. The problem is, you're so focused on the baby you forget to drink. So we create a system. It's called the every feed you drink rule. Get yourself a large 32-ounce insulated water bottle with a straw. A straw is non-negotiable. It makes it 1,000 times easier to drink while holding a baby. Keep this water bottle at your nursing station. The rule is simple. Every time the baby eats, you drink. As they latch, you take a big swig of water. You are tying your own critical need for hydration to a habit you are already performing 8 to 12 times a day. To level this up, add an electrolyte powder to 1 or 2 of your bottles a day. This will help replenish the essential minerals you're losing through milk production and the general stress of recovery. Finally, there is the most powerful and often the most difficult nutritional strategy of all: outsourcing. You must learn to ask for help specifically. When friends and family ask that wonderful, well-intentioned question, "What can I do to help?" you need to banish the phrase, "Oh, we're fine," from your vocabulary. You are not fine. You are a walking miracle who just built a human, and you need to be fed. Have a specific, actionable answer ready. You know what would be amazing? Bringing over a meal we can just heat up. A lasagna, a soup, a roasted chicken. Or if they're coming over to see the baby, give them a task. It would be a lifesaver if you could spend 15 minutes chopping up these vegetables for me. People want to help. They just don't know how. Giving them a concrete task is a gift to them and a lifeline for you. Better yet, designate a friend or family member to set up a meal train. There are websites that make this incredibly easy. It allows your community to coordinate bringing you food for weeks, taking the entire mental load of what's for dinner off your plate when you need it most. By implementing these systems, nutrient stacking your smoothies and meals, strategically placing snacks where you need them most, tying your hydration to your baby's schedule, and learning to outsource with specific requests, you build a scaffold of support around yourself. You create a structure that makes it easier to get the fuel you need, even when you're running on empty. This isn't about perfection. It's about practicality. It's about giving your body the building blocks it needs to heal, one smoothie, one snack, one sip of water at a time. But what happens when, despite all these strategies, you still feel off? When the brain fog won't lift and the baby blues feel heavier than they should? It turns out what you eat has a profound, direct impact on your postpartum mental health. And that's the critical link we need to explore. Let's start by thinking about the brain not as some abstract source of thoughts and feelings, but as a physical organ. It's a 3-pound universe of fat and water, buzzing with electricity, and it is, by far, the most energy-hungry organ in your body. And right now, your brain is recovering from one of the most demanding neurological and hormonal events a human can experience. It has just orchestrated the creation of another human being, and it did so by giving away its own resources. So when we talk about postpartum mental health, we're not just talking about psychology, we're talking about biology. We're talking about the raw materials your brain needs to repair itself, to regulate your mood, and to clear the fog. And the conversation about these raw materials doesn't start in the head. It starts in your gut. You've probably heard of the gut-brain axis, this incredible superhighway of communication between your digestive system and your brain. Think of your gut as a second brain, lined with millions of nerve cells and home to trillions of bacteria that influence everything from your immunity to your mood. What you eat directly feeds this ecosystem. You're either providing the fuel for a calm, well-functioning system, or you're accidentally creating inflammation and stress signals that travel straight up that highway to your brain, impacting your mood, your anxiety levels, and your ability to think clearly. This isn't just theory. It's a foundational piece of the postpartum wellness puzzle. So let's get specific. What are the non-negotiable, mission-critical nutrients your brain is crying out for right now? First on the list, and arguably one of the most important, are omega-3 fatty acids, specifically one called DHA. DHA is a primary structural component of the human brain. It's literally the stuff your brain cells are made of. Throughout your pregnancy, your baby's developing brain was a DHA magnet, pulling it directly from your stores. It's one of the most selfless acts of motherhood, happening on a microscopic level. Your body prioritizes your baby, ensuring they have the building blocks for a healthy brain, but it leaves you, the mother, in a state of significant depletion. Studies have suggested a strong correlation between low levels of DHA and a higher risk for postpartum depression. It makes perfect sense. If the very structure of your brain cells is compromised, their ability to communicate effectively, to send and receive the signals that regulate mood, is also compromised. The brain fog, the emotional volatility, the low mood, these can be symptoms of a brain that is literally starved of its own building blocks. So, how do you rebuild your supply? The most potent sources of DHA are found in fatty, cold water fish. Think salmon, mackerel, herring, and sardines. Just a couple of servings a week can make a significant difference. If you're not a fan of fish, Algae-based DHA supplements are an excellent plant-based alternative. Other plant sources of omega-3s like walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds are fantastic for your health, but they contain a different type, ALA, which the body has to convert into DHA, and that conversion process isn't very efficient. So prioritizing those direct sources of DHA is a key strategy. This is a crucial area to discuss with your healthcare provider to see what approach is right for you and your specific needs. Next up, we need to talk about the B vitamin family, especially folate, also known as B9 and B12. Think of these vitamins as the master mechanics of your brain's chemical factory. They are essential for creating neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that control your mood, like serotonin, our happiness molecule, and dopamine, our motivation molecule. When B vitamin levels are low, production in this factory slows down. It's like trying to run an assembly line with half the workers. The result? You can feel it as fatigue, irritability, memory problems, and a flat, depressed mood. Pregnancy, childbirth, and breastfeeding all place huge demands on your B vitamin stores, so depletion is incredibly common. To restock, you need to think in two categories. For folate, turn to leafy greens like spinach and kale, as well as lentils, beans, and avocados. The word folate actually comes from foliage, which is a great way to remember it. For B12, the sources are almost exclusively animal-based: meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy products. This is critical for mothers on a vegan or vegetarian diet to be aware of. Fortified foods like nutritional yeast or certain plant milks can help, but supplementation is often a conversation worth having with your doctor to ensure you're getting enough of this vital brain nutrient. Replenishing your B vitamins is like turning the lights back on in your brain's control room. Third, let's revisit an old friend: iron. We've talked about iron for physical energy for rebuilding blood loss, but its role in mental health is just as profound. Iron's main job is to help create hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen. And where is all that oxygen going? A huge portion of it is going to your brain. When iron levels are low, oxygen delivery drops. Your brain is literally being deprived of the oxygen it needs to function optimally. This is why the symptoms of iron deficiency anemia and postpartum depression can look so similar. Extreme exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, apathy, difficulty concentrating, and a pervasive low mood. You might think you're struggling emotionally when in fact your brain is struggling to breathe on a cellular level. This overlap in symptoms is why it's so important for new mothers to have their iron levels checked. It's a simple blood test that can provide a world of clarity. As a reminder, focus on those iron-rich foods like red meat, poultry, lentils, and spinach, and always pair them with a source of vitamin C to maximize absorption. Finally, we cannot have a conversation about postpartum mood without talking about vitamin D. We call it the sunshine vitamin, but it functions more like a hormone in the body, and it has powerful effects on the brain. Receptors for vitamin D are found in areas of the brain that are linked to the development of depression. Research has pointed to a significant link between low vitamin D levels and mood disorders. For a new mother, who might be spending most of her time indoors, recovering and caring for a newborn, getting enough sun exposure to produce adequate vitamin D can be nearly impossible. Food sources are also notoriously limited. You can find it in fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified milk, but it's very difficult to get what you need from diet alone. This is another key nutrient where blood work can be incredibly insightful, and supplementation is a very common recommendation from healthcare professionals to help support mood and overall well-being during the postpartum period. So let's put this all together. Imagine your brain is a bustling city. The omega-3s, the DHA, are the physical bricks and mortar of every single building. They form the structure of your brain cells. The B vitamins are the skilled workforce, the electricians and engineers who run the power lines and communication systems, creating the neurotransmitters that allow messages to fly across the city. Iron is the city's power plant, pumping out oxygen-rich energy to every single street and building, keeping the lights on and the city running. And vitamin D? Vitamin D is like the city planner, overseeing everything, regulating mood and ensuring the master plan is being followed. When even one of these is in short supply, the city starts to falter. A shortage of bricks and the buildings crumble. A strike by the workforce and communication breaks down. A power outage and the entire city grinds to a halt. This isn't about one magic nutrient. It's about creating a holistic support system for your brain. It's about recognizing that your mental and emotional well-being isn't just in your head, it's on your plate. Feeding your brain with these key nutrients is one of the most powerful acts of self-care. you can perform as a new mother. It's the foundation upon which all other wellness strategies are built. And just as your brain requires its own unique fuel for mental resilience, your body is embarking on one of the most demanding reconstruction projects it will ever undertake. Childbirth, whether vaginal or surgical, is a monumental physical event. Think of your body as a house that has just weathered a Category 5 hurricane. The foundation is solid, but the walls need mending, the wiring needs checking, and the entire structure needs to be fortified. This isn't a passive process of just bouncing back. It's an active, deliberate, and nutrient-intensive period of rebuilding. The raw materials for this reconstruction, they come directly from your fork. Let's start with the most common and debilitating feeling in the postpartum period. A fatigue so profound it feels like it's in your bones. It's more than just sleep deprivation. It's a heavy leaden exhaustion that can make climbing a flight of stairs feel like summiting a mountain. While lack of sleep is a huge factor, there's often a hidden culprit draining your energy reserves: iron deficiency. During childbirth, you lose a significant amount of blood. It's a natural part of the process, but with that blood loss goes a critical mineral, iron. Iron is the core component of hemoglobin, the protein in your red blood cells responsible for grabbing oxygen from your lungs and ferrying it to every single cell in your body, from your brain to your muscles. When your iron stores are low, your oxygen delivery service is understaffed. Your body is essentially running on fumes. This is postpartum anemia, and its symptoms, extreme fatigue, weakness, dizziness, and even a low mood, can easily be mistaken for just normal new mom tiredness. But it's not something you just have to push through, something you can address. Replenishing your iron stores is a top priority for postpartum recovery. Now, not all iron is created equal. There are two types: heme iron and non-heme iron. Heme iron, found in animal products like lean red meat, poultry, and fish, is the VIP of the iron world. Your body absorbs it incredibly efficiently. A modest portion of beef or dark meat chicken can provide a powerful boost to your iron levels. But what if you're plant-based, or simply don't eat a lot of meat? You turn to non-heme iron. This is found in plant sources like lentils, beans, tofu, spinach, and fortified cereals. While your body doesn't absorb non-heme iron as easily, it has a secret weapon, a powerful ally that can dramatically increase its absorption: vitamin C. Think of vitamin C as the key that unlocks the full potential of plant-based iron. Pairing an iron-rich food with a vitamin C-rich food in the same meal can boost absorption by up to 6 times. This is where food synergy becomes your superpower. It's as simple as squeezing a lemon over a spinach salad. It's having a side of bell peppers with your lentil soup. It's adding tomatoes to your bean chili, or enjoying a small glass of orange juice with your fortified oatmeal. This simple pairing transforms a good source of iron into a great one, helping you fight off that debilitating fatigue and get the oxygen flowing where it needs to go. But energy is only one part of the equation. Your body also needs to physically heal. Your uterus, which grew to the size of a watermelon, needs to shrink back to the size of a pear. If you had a C-section, you have an incision that needs to mend. If you had a vaginal birth, you may have tearing or an episiotomy that requires repair. This is where the reconstruction crew comes in, led by protein. Protein is, quite literally, the building block of life. Your body breaks it down into amino acids, which it then uses like bricks and mortar to repair and build new tissue. Every cell involved in the healing process, from skin and muscle to connective tissue, requires a constant supply of protein. Skimping on protein during the postpartum period is like asking a construction crew to rebuild a house with half the necessary lumber. The process will be slower, and the final structure might not be as strong. Aiming for adequate protein at every meal is crucial. This doesn't have to be complicated. It can be eggs for breakfast, a chicken salad for lunch, and a piece of salmon for dinner. For plant-based moms, it's a tofu scramble, a quinoa bowl with chickpeas, or a hearty bean stew. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, nuts, and seeds are also fantastic protein-packed snacks that can keep your body supplied with the amino acids it needs for around-the-clock repair. Working alongside protein is our old friend vitamin C. We already know it helps with iron absorption, but it plays another starring role in physical recovery. Vitamin C is essential for the production of collagen. Collagen is the primary structural protein in your body. It's the scaffolding that gives your skin its elasticity and your tissues their strength. When you have a wound, your body sends a flood of collagen to the site to knit the tissue back together. Without enough vitamin C, this process is impaired. Healing slows down and scar tissue may not form as effectively. So those same foods that help you absorb iron, citrus fruits, berries, like bell peppers, broccoli, tomatoes, are also directly fueling your body's ability to physically stitch itself back together. And finally, let's bring in the site foreman of this entire operation, zinc. This mineral might not get as much press as iron or protein, but it's an unsung hero of postpartum recovery. Zinc is involved in hundreds of enzymatic reactions in the body, including those essential for cell division and protein synthesis, the very core of the healing process. It also plays a vital role in supporting your immune system, which can be vulnerable after the stress of childbirth and during periods of sleep deprivation. A robust immune system helps protect your healing tissues from infection, ensuring the recovery process stays on track. You can find zinc in foods like oysters, beef, pumpkin seeds, lentils, and chickpeas. Sprinkling some pumpkin seeds on your yogurt or adding chickpeas to your salad is an easy way to make sure your internal foreman has everything it needs to manage the reconstruction project efficiently. So let's put it all together. What does a postpartum recovery plate actually look like? Imagine a healer's bowl. The base is quinoa, providing complete protein. On top, you add a scoop of black beans for more protein and non-heme iron. Add some roasted sweet potatoes for energy and vitamin A, and a big handful of fresh spinach. Top it with some sliced avocado for healthy fats, and a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds for that crucial zinc. Finally, you drizzle it all with a bright, zesty lemon tahini dressing. The vitamin C in the lemon juice supercharging the iron absorption from the beans and spinach. Every single ingredient in that bowl is working in concert, providing your body with the exact tools it needs to rebuild, repair, and re-energize. Or think about a slow-cooked beef stew, tender and rich. The beef provides highly absorbable heme iron and protein. The broth is full of collagen, and it's simmered with carrots, onions, and a rich tomato base, infusing the entire dish with vitamins, including that all-important vitamin C. It's a meal that's both comforting and deeply restorative. Fueling your physical recovery isn't about restrictive diets or complicated meal plans. It's about a conscious and compassionate approach to nourishment. It's about understanding that every bite you take can be an act of healing. You are providing the raw materials your body is crying out for to mend tissues, replenish stores, and build back your strength, layer by layer. But even with the perfect plate of food, there's one element so simple, so fundamental, that without it, none of this works efficiently. It's the silent engine of your recovery, and it's likely something you're not getting enough of. That silent engine is water. I know. In a world of complex supplements and superfood powders, hearing that the most critical element might be simple, plain water can feel anticlimactic. But that's the beautiful, deceptive power of it. We are, at our core, beings of water. Every single cell in your body, every metabolic process, every signal sent from your brain relies on it. And in the postpartum period, your body's demand for this fundamental resource skyrockets to a level you've likely never experienced before. It's not just about quenching thirst. It's about rebuilding an entire internal ecosystem from the ground up. Think about what your body is doing right now. It's healing from a monumental physical event, whether you had a vaginal birth or a C-section. This healing process is cellular construction on a massive scale. Water is the transport system, carrying oxygen and nutrients to those healing tissues, and just as importantly, carrying away metabolic waste. Without enough water, this entire system slows down. It's like trying to run a city's logistics network during a drought. Everything becomes sluggish, inefficient, and backed up. That lingering swelling in your ankles? Proper hydration helps your kidneys and lymphatic system flush out those excess fluids. That frustrating postpartum constipation that nobody talks about? Water, along with fiber, is the key to getting things moving gently and comfortably again. Then there's the energy factor. We've all felt that afternoon slump where your brain feels like it's wading through mud. Studies have shown that even mild dehydration, as little as 1 or 2%, can significantly impair cognitive function, focus, and short-term memory. Now, multiply that by the profound sleep deprivation of new motherhood. It's a recipe for that debilitating mom brain we joke about, but which feels anything but funny when you're living it. Often, what we perceive as pure exhaustion is actually a combination of exhaustion and dehydration. Reaching for another cup of coffee might give you a temporary jolt, but reaching for a large glass of water can provide a more sustained, foundational lift to your energy and mental clarity, without the eventual crash. And if you are breastfeeding, hydration moves from being important to being non-negotiable. Your breast milk is approximately 87% water. Your body is literally producing liquid gold for your baby, and it has to pull that water from somewhere. It will pull it from your own tissues, your own cells, your own reserves. If those reserves are low, your body will still prioritize the baby, but it comes at a cost to you. It can leave you feeling depleted, headachy, and dizzy. While severe dehydration can potentially impact milk supply, staying well hydrated is one of the simplest, most direct ways you can support your body's incredible ability to produce exactly what your baby needs. So why is it so hard to stay hydrated during this time? It's a perfect storm. Your fluid needs are dramatically increased, but your ability to meet those needs is at an all-time low. You're so focused on the baby's needs, is she hungry, is she wet, is she comfortable, that your own basic needs like thirst get pushed to the very bottom of the list. You might sit down to nurse, get trapped under a sleeping baby, and realize an hour later that you're desperately thirsty. But your water is all the way across the room. Your hormones are also in flux, which can lead to night sweats, causing you to lose even more fluid while you sleep. The normal thirst signals we rely on can become unreliable when we're exhausted. By the time you actually feel thirsty, you're often already dehydrated. So how much do you actually need? The old 8 glasses a day rule is a decent starting point for the average person, but you are not the average person right now. You are a new mother. Your needs are greater. For breastfeeding mothers, many experts suggest aiming for around 100 to 128 ounces a day, which is about 3 to 4 liters. That sounds like a staggering amount, like an impossible task. But please don't get fixated on a number. The goal isn't to force-feed yourself water. The goal is to create systems and habits that make hydration easy and automatic. The simplest way to track your status is to look at the color of your urine. It's not glamorous, but it's effective. You're aiming for a pale straw-like yellow. If it's dark, concentrated, or has a strong odor, that's a clear signal from your body that you need to increase your fluid intake. Now for the practical strategies, because knowing isn't the same as doing. First, create hydration stations. Identify the places in your home where you spend the most time. Your favorite chair for nursing, your bedside table, the spot on the couch where you collapse at the end of the day. At each of these stations, place a large, dedicated water bottle. A 32 or 40-ounce bottle with a straw is ideal, because you can drink it easily with one hand, even while holding your baby. The goal is to make water so readily available that it's harder to not drink it. Next, tie your hydration to your baby's routine. This is a powerful habit-stacking technique. Every single time you sit down to nurse or bottle feed, your first move is to take a long drink of water. The baby latches, you drink. It becomes a paired action and automatic reflex. Before you know it, you'll have consumed a significant amount of water throughout the day without even thinking about it. Don't forget that you can also eat your water. Many foods have a high water content and can contribute significantly to your hydration goals, while also providing other key nutrients. Think of watermelon, cantaloupe, strawberries, cucumbers, celery, bell peppers, and oranges. Soups and broths are also phenomenal. A warm, nourishing bowl of bone broth does double duty, providing collagen for tissue repair and deep hydration for your entire system. Finally, let's talk about electrolytes. This is a piece of the hydration puzzle that often gets missed. Water doesn't work in a vacuum. For your cells to actually absorb and utilize the water you're drinking, you need electrolytes, minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium that carry an electric charge. They are the gatekeepers of your cells, telling water where to go. After birth, with the massive fluid shifts, hormonal changes, and increased demands of lactation, your electrolyte balance can easily be thrown off. This is why you can sometimes drink tons of water and still feel thirsty or dehydrated. You don't necessarily need a sugary, brightly colored sports drink. You can replenish electrolytes naturally. Coconut water is a fantastic source of potassium. Bananas, avocados, sweet potatoes, and spinach are also rich in this key mineral. For sodium, we're not talking about processed table salt. A pinch of high-quality, unrefined sea salt or pink Himalayan salt in your water can make a world of difference. It contains dozens of trace minerals that your body needs. You can even make your own simple electrolyte drink. A big glass of water, a squeeze of lemon or lime for flavor and vitamin C, a tiny pinch of sea salt, and maybe a teaspoon of raw honey or maple syrup, as the glucose helps transport the electrolytes into your cells more efficiently. This isn't about adding another stressful task to your impossibly long to-do list. It's about reframing hydration as the ultimate act of self-care. It is the current that allows all the other nutrients we've talked about, the proteins, the fats, the vitamins, the minerals, to actually reach their destination and do their work. It supports your energy, clarifies your mind, aids your physical healing, and helps you produce nourishment for your baby. It is the simplest and perhaps most profound foundation you can lay for your own recovery. By focusing on these physical building blocks, the food on your plate and the water in your glass, you are giving your body the raw materials it needs to heal. But the postpartum experience isn't just physical. It's a deeply emotional and psychological transformation. And what we've discovered is that the final crucial piece of this wellness puzzle isn't something you can eat or drink at all. It's about harnessing the power that already exists between your ears. It's a concept we can call neuronutrition, feeding your mind with the thoughts, perspectives, and connections that allow it to heal and thrive right alongside your body. Because the most powerful chemical reactions happening in your postpartum journey aren't in a lab. They're happening in your brain in response to your thoughts. Let's start with the first, and perhaps most challenging mental nutrient, presence. In the whirlwind of new motherhood, your mind is a time machine. It's either hurtling into the future, worrying about the next feeding, the next doctor's appointment, the baby's development, or it's stuck in the past, replaying the birth, wondering if you did something wrong, mourning the person you were before. The one place it rarely is right here, right now. This constant mental travel is exhausting. It burns through your energy reserves faster than a sleepless night. The practice of presence is the anchor. It's not about sitting in a silent room for an hour meditating. Who has time for that? It's about finding micro moments of stillness in the chaos. When you're holding your baby, instead of running through your to-do list, force your attention onto one sensory detail. The feeling of their tiny hand wrapped around your finger. The specific milky scent of their hair. The pattern of their breathing against your chest. In that single moment, you are not a bad mom or a good mom. You are not tired or overwhelmed or behind on laundry. You just are. And your baby is just here. This practice, repeated over and over, rewires your brain. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that, as we know, can wreak havoc on your physical recovery, interfering with everything from milk supply to nutrient absorption. Being present is the act of telling your nervous system, in this exact second, we are safe. And that signal of safety is one of the most powerful healing agents in the world. The second mental nutrient is self-compassion. If there is one predator that stalks new mothers in the quiet moments, it's the voice of self-criticism. Tells you you're not doing enough. You're not feeling the right way. You should be happier, more organized, less tired. You should already be back in your old jeans. This internal narrator is brutal. Self-compassion is the antidote. It's not about letting yourself off the hook. It's about changing the way you talk to yourself when you feel you've fallen short. Imagine your best friend called you, crying, saying everything you just said to yourself. Would you tell her, "Yeah, you really are a mess. You should have it together by now"? Of course not. You would meet her with warmth, with understanding. You'd say, "This is so hard. You are doing an incredible job in an impossible situation. It's okay to feel this way." Self-compassion is simply turning that same voice inward. It's a conscious choice. When you spill the milk you just painstakingly pumped instead of the automatic, "I'm such an idiot, you can try. This is frustrating. It's okay. Let's take a breath and clean it up." This isn't just feel-good fluff. It has a physiological impact. Self-criticism activates the threat defense system in our brain, releasing cortisol and adrenaline. Self-compassion, on the other hand, activates the caregiving system, releasing oxytocin and opiates, which are calming and pain-reducing. You are literally changing your body's chemistry by changing your inner dialogue. This leads directly to the third mental nutrient, embracing the principle of the good enough mother. We live in an age of curated perfection. Social media feeds show us mothers with pristine white kitchens, babies who sleep through the night at 6 weeks, and bodies that seem to have magically erased any evidence of pregnancy. This is a fantasy. It is the enemy of postpartum wellness. The pursuit of perfection is a recipe for burnout and despair, because it's an impossible standard. The concept of the good enough mother, developed by psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott, is one of the most liberating ideas you can embrace. It suggests that babies and children don't need a perfect parent. In fact, perfection is unhelpful. They need a parent who is real, who is attuned to them most of the time, but who also messes up, gets frustrated, and then repairs the connection. They need a parent who provides security and love, not a flawless performance. So, give yourself permission. The laundry can wait. A store-bought meal is fine. A messy house with a present, connected parent is infinitely better for a child's development than a spotless house with a stressed-out, anxious one. Trading the goal of perfection for the goal of presence is a radical act of self-care. It frees up an immense amount of mental and emotional energy that you can then reinvest in what truly matters. your baby, and yourself. Finally, the fourth and most vital mental nutrient is connection. Humans are wired for it. We are not meant to do this alone, huddled in our homes, scrolling through pictures of other people's lives. The postpartum period can be intensely isolating, and isolation is a significant risk factor for postpartum mood and anxiety disorders. Your brain and body are craving connection. When you have a real, honest conversation with another person, especially another new parent who just gets it, your body releases a cascade of oxytocin. This is the love and bonding hormone. It counteracts stress, promotes feelings of well-being, and is fundamental to your recovery. This isn't about having 100 friends. It's about finding your one. One person you can text at 3 a.m. and say, "I don't know if I can do this," without fear of judgment. It's about finding a local parent group, a walking buddy, or even a trusted online community where you can shed the performance and be real. Vulnerability is the access point to connection. Admitting you're struggling isn't a sign of weakness. It's an invitation for support. And that support is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity for your well-being. Think of it this way. You wouldn't try to heal from a major surgery without bandages and medicine. Don't try to heal from the monumental transition of childbirth without the essential medicine of human connection. So as we bring this journey to a close, from iron to omega-3s, from hydration to choline, it all culminates here. Your mental state is the soil in which all these physical nutrients take root. A mind flooded with stress and self-criticism is like arid, depleted soil. It struggles to absorb and utilize the good things you put into it. A mind nurtured with presence, self-compassion, and connection is like rich, fertile ground, allowing you to not just survive, but to truly flourish. This postpartum period is not a race. It is not a test you can pass or fail. It is a profound, messy, beautiful, and challenging transformation. It's a season of your life. The goal is not to bounce back to who you were because that person is gone. The goal is to gently, patiently, and compassionately get to know the new person you are becoming. A person who is stronger, more resilient, and more capable of love than you ever imagined. Be patient with your body. Be kind to your mind. Feed yourself well with good food and even better thoughts. And above all, know that you are not alone in this. You are part of a vast, unspoken community of mothers, stretching back through time, who have navigated this same path. You are doing the most important work in the world. And you are and always have been more than enough.